One of the most infamous, classically bad but beloved games on the NES is the original Ghostbusters. Published by Activision in 1988, this artifact has gotten a modern makeover with the real Ghostbusters Remastered, presented by NES Rocks. Let's take a quick look at all the hard work we can see that's been done on the surface. I'm playing this game via an EverDrive N8 on the AVS, but it should work fine on an official NES console, and most emulators as well. Anyway, let's start off by taking a look and a listen as we compare the title screens. One of the first things you'll notice is the No Ghost logo has been redrawn. Here we have the original, and then we have the new remaster title screen. Alright, so here's a pretty neat detail. For years, many people made jokes of the way the voice sample yelling, "Ghostbusters!" sounds when you press start. Sure, it's a classic sound, but check out how they chose to update it in the remaster.
Ghostbusters!
I can dig it, baby! So next, let's check out the Overworld City Hub screen. The original one is functional. You can make out the yellow ghost, the city buildings, and marked buildings such as the shop and Ghostbusters HQ. The no ghost icon represents where you are on the map. Now, let's take a look at the overhauled remaster. Immediately, you can see how much effort went into making this aesthetically pleasing. The streets look like streets, the buildings have more detail, and the ghosts are now Slimer. At least one would assume they are Slimer, since this is based on the real Ghostbusters cartoon. Also of note is the No Ghost logo is now reversed to match the actual logo, which is supposed to face to the left. Nice touch! The driving section of the game has always been essential to completing this monstrosity. It's always looked a bit blocky, with the Ecto-1 being kinda hard to handle. Then again, I've never driven a hearse before, so this might be more true to life than I realize. Anyway, the new graphics are pleasant to behold, and it might be the aesthetics playing tricks on my brain, but the controls seem to handle a tad bit better now. Or perhaps the traffic is less random. Either way, it just feels better to play with the upgrades. Speaking of upgrades, here we have the shop. It's always been the goal of the game to acquire items in the shop until you can afford the Hyper Beam and Anti-Ghost Suit, which you need in order to enter the Zool building. This remaster balances the prices of these items, which forces you to progress in a new way. I didn't find this necessarily better or worse than the original, just different. It's my understanding this was done to give a better sense of story progression, and it does stretch out your gameplay for sure, as I would always find myself down to the wire on time. Ah, crap. So let's get down to busting some ghosts. The original game features 2 generic Ghostbusters, which drop a trap, and then you can control individually by switching between each character by pressing the B button. You move back and forth, catching the 4 ghosts in your beam, and collect the cash. The remaster has essentially the same scenario, only now both characters move in tandem with one another. I found this to be a pretty fun, if small, change. It's also nice to see each ghost has its own character, as well as what I assume to be Peter and Ray catching these ghosts. The color palette really helps everything pop in comparison to the old version as well. I mean, just look at it. Come on, look. Would you look at it? Sorry about that. So, let's make our way into the Zool building, shall we? Yeah. That looks pretty nice. Oh, wow. Okay, so if you've ever got to this part of the game, you know how tedious it can be. Every step you take requires a tap on the A button. You have to tap the A button for 23 flights of stairs. And all while avoiding ghosts. Now here is where perhaps the best quality of life change happens between the original game and the remaster. To move, all you have to do is press the D-pad. It's so simple, and yet so welcome. It's still not an easy task to make it up all 23 floors, but at least your fingers won't fall off from excessive button mashing trying to get there. Plus again, this looks great. We've made it to the top, so what now? The final showdown with Gozer the Gozerian, of course. It's essentially the same battle as the original game. However, now if you want to go to the south end of the building and check on the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, you have to trigger the screen change by pushing the B button. Whereas before, you get too close to the bottom edge, and boom, everything resets and you're back to square one. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the ending here. Spoilers ahead, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then you can probably stop the review now. If you manage to take Gozer down, you are treated to a fun ending, which thankfully tips its hat to the original classic ending of the game. The sprite work is fun, and they even include Dana, Winston, and Lewis. A great way to go out. So is Ghostbusters Remastered, the real, worth playing in 2019? If you're a fan of the original game, then I would say you're definitely going to enjoy this one. If you weren't a fan before, the graphic upgrade does actually help, and I think this is mainly due to things not being so bland and one note to look at. And yes, you still have to deal with the single Ghostbusters theme playing throughout the entirety of the game, but at least it's a catchy one. This hack is obviously a passion project, and that passion shines through to the end user here. All in all, if any of this sounds at least intriguing to you, then you owe it to yourself to at least try it. With all that said, I want to thank you for stopping by to hang out while we discuss all things in gaming. If you like what we're doing, then feel free to click that like, or if you disliked it, then click that too. Also, leave a comment below and let everyone know what you think about the Ghostbusters Remastered. Are you a fan of the movie or the cartoon series this hack is based on? Let's hear about it. Until next time, thank you, and see you soon!